Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and after adding the lighthouse to our harbour the other week, it's rekindled my interest for the area, so I thought I'd do some work here today. And it occurs to me that I've got facades on almost all of my walls, making the room that we work in look that much bigger, whether it be at Sweat or the castle, the hotel, or this run all the way behind here. But one area that has absolutely no facades against it is this back wall here, although I always had plans to do something with it. So that's what we're going to start today. Now, we certainly don't have room for a great big deep warehouse like Dr. Inferno's one here at the end of that pier. Indeed, the space we've got to work with down here is very slim indeed, only a few studs. But it does mean that we can actually maximise the space in the Lego room just a little bit more because, well, you can see that the base plates come to a few studs short of the actual wall. So I think it's my intention, first of all, to use some blue plates to kind of bridge that gap. They'll probably step up and sit on top of the edge of the plates, but I don't think that slight change in height will be that apparent from any distance at all. And then we can build on top of that. But yeah, as you can see, they're going to have to be very slim indeed, especially to fit past the Eldorado Fortress and our new lighthouse, of course. The ships can all be moved in a little bit, so they don't really matter quite so much. So I want to have a combination of two things, really. One is some quayside buildings, just some old, perhaps even partially derelict buildings that have got all the sort of windows and sort of crane attachments and stuff like that on them. And that's not what I'm going to do today. But the second one is to do a wall of containers. And effectively there'll be shipping containers, much like these ones on this ship and on the train and on that truck and on this crane and so on, all stacked up on top of each other. And well, just so they'll fit, because well, they're 6 wide and 10 long, we'll just be seeing the very end of them. So it really will be quite a shallow facade. And I'm going to have kind of the 1 by 6 by 5 panels all lined up, well, in a higgledy-piggledy way, really, because real life container stacks are very ordered, very colourful still, but very much in a grid fashion, so they can be accessed very easily, so they can get the one out at the bottom without having to move absolutely the entire stack. Though given that this is a fun Lego city, I figure that mine will be really higgledy-piggledy, so I'm going to have them all sort of jumbled up, some facing side on, some facing end on, different colours all overlapping each other and looking like the whole thing could really fall down on top of our historical monument. Oh no! So anyway, I think that will be really good fun. So let's get started on that. Good, good. Now, before we start on the building desk, I'll just show you what I did in LDD, Lego Digital Designer, although that's since been replaced by Studio if you want to do something similar. Basically, I mocked up the entire area. I didn't worry about the details like having the right lighthouse or getting the cranes all finished or anything like that. I just wanted the rough outline of the edge against the wall of the Lego room, so I could fiddle around with different plate combinations matching the ones I actually own in blue, and also then when I'm building up the containers, change the colours very quickly. So the first step was to make that lip of blue plates that would fit on top of the existing base plates and fill that gap. So then we could build on top of that afterwards with, well, a stack of facade containers, as I mentioned earlier. And I should be able to just sort of stack these so they look end on with different amounts protruding from the wall very quickly, and then kind of change their order and colour as necessary. So that was the plan, and here it is in real life bricks. So essentially I went through all of my blue plates, finding the ones I had, and where I have to I'm using 6 deep, and where I had them I'm doing 4 deep. This little cutout here is going around the Eldorado Fortress sort of outcrop, and I'm using a lot of the pieces that were donated very recently as part of a brick haul. Some of them are a little bit stained or discoloured, but that doesn't really matter because they're going to be in such a corner. I don't think you'll be able to see them at all. So I've got a kind of wide section at the front and then a very, very narrow section going down the sides of that Eldorado Fortress. And then I've got that supported with some more plates underneath. So that little edge there of one stud and then 3 studs is the bit that's going to attach to the existing base plates. And I think it's going to be very difficult to kind of install this. So I'm not looking forward to that at all. In fact, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because I've really got nothing to sort of push against. So I'm probably going to have to remove all the very tall stuff and be very, very careful indeed. So this is the area I'm working with today. Kind of a wide section at the end once we're past the fortress, and then a very, very narrow 1 or 2 stud sort of depth for the rest of the side of it. So I'm not going to build directly onto this because it's not particularly stable. So let's start with the containers afresh. As I mentioned earlier, the standard size that I use for a Lego shipping container is 6 studs by 10. And just because that was the standard made by sets like the City Harbour 7994 back in 2007 and a few others. And I just think it's about the right size for my city. Not very realistic perhaps, but I like it. And the other unrealistic thing is the fact that I have open sides on a lot and even open tops as well on some, just so you can see the wonderful contents, because I think that really adds to the scene as well rather than just completely enclosed boxes. So I do want to include a couple of these in my wall, but they're going to have to be pretty much at this end of things where we've got the available width without the Eldorado Fortress getting in the way. So that's one of the things I'm going to include, but otherwise I'm just going to be using loads of these 1x6x5 panels that I've been collecting for absolutely months. And I've tried to go for interesting ones where they're plain in shape with stickers. So these ones, for example, came with the 7992 container stacker from 2007 with these nice hazard stripes down the sides. But otherwise, I've been collecting the newer corrugated style, which are part number 23405, and they're really interesting even without stickers. So I've been able to use ones like that with two 2x6 plates or a combination of smaller plates to make it up, and just some basic bricks on the other side to make the ingredients for my wall, so that can go right up against the wall of the Lego room and appear like one of these containers just end on. So I'm going to do these 1, 2 and 3 studs in depth. I'm also, on top of the normal container ends and these corrugated ones, going to make some of my own, and I'm going to do this so I can use some really appropriate bricks. Now these ones were very recently donated, these 1x3 cargo ones, and this panel was also donated a bit longer ago. So if you want to donate something to the channel, you can by sending it to my usual PO box address, and it will be greatly appreciated and used in a future wonderful build like this. But those two both came from the set 6330 Cargo Center from 1998, which is kind of a junior set, but it's really nice to use these fantastic logoed pieces. I've still got the tail fin as well that was gifted from the helicopter as part of that set, so I do plan to use that one day. But anyway, there we go. Just bricks made into a facade of a container as well, just with a 1x6 on in this case, so it's really close to the wall. So a combination of ends that look like that and that can make up my scene. Looking good already if you ask me. So for the very bottom part of this, I wanted to do something really big, and one thing that I had to hand as part of the set Fire Brigade 60321 from 2022 was this very nice dark turquoise container. I've changed it slightly just so we've got an open side on the inside, because that'll be against the wall, we won't be able to see that, so we can use another one to cover the back where the play feature was. I just really like these double doors with the handles on and so on, so I won't be replicating that on all the others. And indeed this is 6 studs tall rather than 5 studs, so it'll be slightly higher, this first row. So that is going to overhang this wide area at the bottom and provide the base. I'm not going to attach it because this is just too wibbly, and then we can build on from there using a much narrower setup like this. It will kind of start and go on like that. So we can build this here and clip that onto there and start adding containers. So Here is one that's just a boring old grey. We won't be able to see this bottom row too much, but I still added a sticker. It's just another cargo one that was sort of lying around that was on 2 sets originally, including set 4555, cargo station from 1995. And I moved this from a smaller white panel piece onto my grey one, because I only had one anyway, using my patented hot tea technique. Yes, so where I don't need bricks behind it because it's right up against another one, I haven't added them, so I've tried to save bricks wherever possible. So that can just go there. Then I've got a black one, and here's one of the corrugated ones. Looks very nice. And because I need to raise it up by the additional brick for the bottom line, I've just added one here with a nice sticker on. So this has obviously got some extreme sportswear in it or something like that. And that's from set 60085, the 4x4 with powerboat from 2015, which has the great big orange speedboat on the back of it, of course. Another thing that I've got is this City Line sticker before, because it's on the City Line's office in the harbour. But I figure they must be responsible for some containers as well. So that sticker also comes from that 7994 City Harbour set from 2007 with an incredibly large container ship. And I've just augmented that with some sort of vents on the side with these 1x2x5 bricks. They came from the Hospital 7892 from 2006. That's the one with a 3D base plate. That's kind of weird. I must have real accessibility issues for cars or patients trying to make their way into that hospital. You just imagine somebody with a leg injury not able to get up that very steep ramp being in a very bad way at the bottom of those steps. Anyway, right, so there's a nice red one, and I really like that City Lines. That really pops from a distance, so I hope we'll be able to see that one. Now, these ones we really probably won't be able to see, so I've just got a very plain sand green one, but at least it's a different colour that I can add in there. And here is a tan one as well, so we've got a real myriad of colours. And you can see I've got these plates making up the bottom and the top sort of level of what would be a container, kind of like that one. And then at the very end, I'm going to add another corrugated one in yellow. Hopefully the bright yellow you can see behind everything else, but if not, I've got quite a few yellow ones, so that's why I put that one right in the corner. So there is the first tier of our thing. If we just balance that briefly on top of here, you'll see how it'll look. Hey, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe not realistic that it's on these wooden piles. I don't really know. But again, you're really not going to see them. So I don't think that's too much of a problem. And I like these stickers being able to be seen from the side. Yeah, because we're going to be viewing it from this angle. So that's the view that it's most important. If we can see tiny chinks of light in between two from this angle, it really doesn't matter because we're just not going to be able to see it from there. So that's why I haven't worried about that. But that looks great. Cool. Right, I need to take this off and then we can start building layer number 2. How high will it go? Alrighty then, let's get on with level 2. And I'm desperate to put a seagull on top of all of this, but I think I better wait until we've got to the very top. But I'll perch one on here just for now. It'll probably fall off. Anyway, yeah, so I've added that container with the wonderful snowmobile in, because I think that looked really good against the pale wall popping out, and it kind of has to go on this wider section as I've mentioned a few times. So yeah, nice dangerous overhang there, adding to the peril of the scene. So we've got room for a normal one here, so I'm going to add another red one because I've got quite a few red ones, so I need to space those out so it doesn't look too red absolutely everywhere. Then the next one along, let's go for a different colour, and I've got green. Now here's another sticker with transport written on it. Now it didn't come on this piece originally, it came again on a 1x4x3 panel, and that was part of set 76015, Dock Ock Truck Heist from 2014, where it was on the side of that security truck, of course. But I moved it again using my patented hot tea technique. Yep, did that a few times for this video, so it could be on a nice green container end. Yes, so that would be kind of looked at from behind the corner of this one. It'll look very nice indeed. Then some of the Friends colouring now, because these have been in all sorts of sets. And you see, I've got white on this side because I didn't have enough bricks, but you won't be able to see that, as I mentioned earlier. But this side you will be able to see, so I've managed to get one of the same colour. But yes, we've got a few friends' colours in this build, but I don't really mind because we are going for variety in this case. So that one can go on the top of there, looking very nice indeed. Yeah, that really pops, that bright colour there. Then for a bit of variety, I'm going to actually add another one of those containers. It's kind of got a big round barrel tank in it. They're called ISO tank cargo containers. I've already got one of those in full form, actually hanging from the big red crane that's part of the pier that will be here. But I thought I'd just have the very end of one showing to add to the variety here. So they use this end, this sort of support piece, with a dish. So that's the 6x6 dish there. And I can put that in the studs there and have the whole thing supported. That's why I've got these bracket pieces on here to stop it falling back out, supported like that. So that looks really good as well. Another bit of interest. So yeah, very good. And then last, to finish off that entire section, I thought I'd have another one kind of sideways on. So we've got a big wide one, and I'm using these lovely graffiti stickers. You can see where it used to say cargo here, but it's got a great big slash down the side and some graffiti on it in red. So it's been really through the wars, this one, I think you'll agree. But this one came in the Space Police set, 5972, Space Truck Getaway from 2009, where the pilot Snake is trying to fool people by having, well, two sets of containers that kind of open up to reveal a massive, great big space laser. I really would love to get hold of all the Space Police sets one day, but they just look absolutely fantastic. But this is very appropriate for this scene as well, so we can complete that second row. Bit of yellow next to yellow, but that's not too bad. It'd look a bit too random if we didn't have any similar colours nearby each other. So, what do you think of that? I think that looks rather good, actually, and that is level number 2 done. Let's get on with level number 3 now. Well, this looks great already if you ask me, but it needs to be much higher because otherwise, with all those obstacles, we just won't be able to see it at all. There is actually a risk that we won't be able to see it regardless, but I'm willing to go for it anyway. So I've moved the seagull to make way for the next level because I want to have another one of these broad ones where I can. And another piece that got sent into the channel that I've decided to use here, these Duplo ones with coffee steaming away, or maybe it's hot chocolate. Oh no, it's definitely coffee, isn't it? Because of the coffee beans. So I just thought I'd block the kind of middle section of that with some great big containers of coffee. Yes, like that. And then I can build the frame of the rest of the container around it. And these ends have just got a generic cargo transport sort of logo that came in that City Harbour set 7994. So yeah, that looks good. Then the next section, I figure we'll add the first of 2 of these brick built ones that we did earlier. So I'll put that there, another flash of yellow. Then for the next one, I'm going to add a dark bluish grey one. And this one I've used even more transport stickers. So I had these very small ones from 1x4 bricks. So I added 3 of them onto this just to make a security transport logo. They came from the set 8199 Security Smash from 2010, which was a Tiny Turbos set with so many good stickers. And these were on the side of another security van, actually. Yeah, I love that set for the stickers. My favourite is the sign that says Honest Bob's Warehousing. I really like that. That's somewhere else in my harbour already. But there we go. So that can be sticking out a bit further in dark bluish grey. Then the next one I'm going to do is black. So I'm going to add a side bit on there because this one's going to be another corrugated one. And this one's going to step out a little bit. So you can imagine if somebody told you need to get the City Lions one out without, well, disturbing too many of the others, it'd be a right job the way we've done it here in a very non-ordered way. But I kind of like that. I think that makes it really good fun. And then for the end, I'm going to have another end on one, or side on one rather. And this one I'm using more of those red corrugated panels and another one of those vent stickers from the hospital set. So this one won't go right up to the very end, but I think that's fine. So yeah, wow, it's really getting tall now. I'm going to have to change my camera angle, but there is level number 3. And that's looking pretty good. And we can actually promote our seagull to a little bit higher up. And I'm even going to add one of these kind of grabber type things for the crane to attach to. onto the very top of that to give the indication that these could be picked up and moved by a hooked crane. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I think the coffee looks all right in there. It's not too obviously Duplo. What do you think of that? And what do you think of everything else? Oh, it's really building up. Cool. Level 4, anyone? Well, this thing has awesome brightness and awesome texture, so I think it's looking really good. But we're going to go higher, not just level 4, but level 5 as well, briefly. So I'm just going to take it off its base where it's not really attached yet. So I'm going to add a blue one here, corrugated, and I've deliberately done blue right at the top to keep it away from the water, because otherwise I thought it'd really blend in, given it's an identical colour. Then I can add purple, corrugated, another sort of friend's colour, I suppose you might think of it as. Another rarer one is this olive. I've got that as a dark grey, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden like that. It's just so there isn't a chink of light shining through. So there's the olive green. And then I had one more of these that we've got on the ends of this one. So that can be overhanging there, looking very precarious as well, but going right up to the corner of the Lego room. And then just because I had more of these pieces, because of the generous gifts of subscribers, I thought I'd make another one of those, and I can have this as one lone bright coloured container as level 5 all on its own right at the top there. And that looks really great. I mean, it's great that it says cargo in such a large font as well, because, well, you couldn't really mistake what this whole stack of containers is supposed to be. But it looks great from dead on. And we're going to probably be seeing it more from an angle like that, or even like that from the lighthouse sort of perspective. But it's very interesting, as I said, very textural, very messy in a way. So I hope it doesn't look too distracting, because the Eldorado Fortress is quite bright itself in yellow and white. So yeah, hopefully it won't be too much of a monstrosity for your eyes to try and pick out what's going on in a corner. But I really do like it, and the combination of using all of these wonderful stickers to do with cargo and so on, the City Lines one's probably my favourite, really adds to it as well, the detail that is throughout my city. So cool. What happens? Well, now we need to put that on top of that, but probably later when it's in the Lego room, or maybe do it all in one go, I don't know, and then get this whole thing installed, because it's such a long reach away. It's going to be a military exercise. I think I'm going to have to take out the lighthouse, all the cranes, all the big ships, and basically almost crawl onto the base plates, I think, kind of on the tables, and hope it can take my weight, because it's going to be an absolute nightmare, especially when I push down onto the edge here and it's got nothing to support it underneath. Maybe I can pull the tables right up to the edge of the wall. Maybe that will be a better technique. Anyway, I've no idea. I'm just hoping that it's not incredibly frustrating getting our brand new build into Brick Nottingham. Operation Get This whole setup into the corner has begun. Whoop, round behind that crane. I've removed the lighthouse, this little bit of the Eldorado Fortress, and the parachuting Lego DB Cooper, who was hanging from this plane. That was getting in the way of my head. I might be able to reach past the crane, to be honest. And I have repositioned the table underneath these base plates so it's absolutely aligned with that last stud, which means I should be able to push down on it without it conflicting with the supporting plates that are underneath. So I'm hoping that'll work. I think one thing I probably do need to still do is just remove some of those flaming torches, because I'm bound to knock those off maybe that flag, and reinstall it afterwards. Here goes, fingers crossed. Well, the container wall might have clearance at the bottom with the footprint of the Eldorado Fortress, but it can't get past all of the battlements on the top and so on. So basically I've had to remove a section of the facade on that wall, being this container and so on, and move that whole fortress just temporarily on top of the neighbouring base plate. And given that it's supporting this big adventurous hot air balloon, it was very precarious moving it sideways, and I'm still very scared that it's all going to collapse and make an absolute mess. But anyway, we should be able to slide in the containers and then slide this back. Fingers crossed. I'm getting nervous. Well, although some of you might have been hoping for a Lego room Hindenburg crash, it hasn't happened. I've managed to get it all back in position, with the container wall in its position as well and attached. I've even put the torch flame back on, which was arguably the hardest bit actually. Took ages. But what I'm going to do before looking at it in more detail is get the lighthouse back and the lifeguard helicopter, and then we could admire our handiwork of the day. Oh, what a relief. It looks really good. Oh, I was quite worried about all that effort, it not looking good. We've still got the parachute and crane swaying a bit from being knocked, and I'm a little out of puff. But yeah, that looks really good, doesn't it? You can't see all the detail as I predicted with the fortress in the way, but you can see that City Line sticker, which is my favourite, and the two yellow cargo ones, which are second place. The coffee, the seagull, and that dark turquoise one at the bottom. It looks really good. Now this will be the first of several facades along here. I'm going to have pretty much the whole wall filled right up to the lighthouse, maybe even around the corner. There'll be gaps for the traffic to get out, of course, on the end of these two piers. But yeah, I think we'll do more containers and some buildings like I mentioned right at the beginning. But I think that's a really good start. That corner was always going to be the hardest, not just to reach, but to fill with something meaningful. And I think we have. It's a bit of a shame it's right next to a tourist attraction. I bet it sort of detracts from the enjoyment of that a little. But you know, it's not too far from real life having modern city life right next to historic monuments. So yeah, I do think it's quite realistic. But as ever, do tell me what you think, and if there's any ways that you can think of to improve it. Be greatly appreciated. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe as well for more awesome LEGO videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be doing a brick haul, because it'll be Wednesday. And then I'm only really managing one video a week in the city at the moment. But whatever we get up to, maybe it'll be the next stage of this, or maybe it'll be doing the jazz club or something like that. We'll have to wait and see, because I'm still not organised. Anyway, until next time, see you! Yeah, that looks great from a distance. Much better than wall.